There are so many things that I love about being a brown girl. I love so many aspects of Indian, South Asian, Punjabi culture. I love our spirituality. I love our commitment to family. I love our art and our music and our food and the richness of our culture. I love how diverse we are. That all said, I would be the first to say that there are some really troubling aspects of Indian culture that are really difficult. I'm thinking about misogyny. I'm thinking about elitism. I'm thinking about how rigid and strict parents are with their children in our culture, to the point where we often feel like we can't breathe as Indian children. And I also think about how difficult it is for so many of us to be critical of our South Asian culture, to talk openly about, for example, sexism and elitism and racism in our culture. And I think one of the reasons for that is it ties back to experiences with white supremacy. So white supremacy is the ideology that white people are better, more deserving, more competent, more able than communities of color and indigenous communities. And I think that the problem is that if we as South Asians start to be more vocal about naming the critical or the negative aspects of our culture, we often fear that if we're vocal about, for example, how sexist our culture is, how much conformity there is, how much elitism there is, and more, that if we confirm that this happens in our culture, well, then it will affirm the negatively held beliefs out there in society, the racist beliefs that are held out there about our culture will affirm white supremacy by naming the negative aspects of our culture. And so it's the fear of affirming these racism, racial biases, and more that causes us, in part, to self-silence. And so one of the things I think a lot about is that we can, in our culture, start naming some of the challenges that we have, some of the issues that we have, while simultaneously naming that racism we experience, the lingering impacts of hundreds of years of colonization also affect us. But we have to name some of the aspects of our culture which are flawed in order that we all collectively live and do better going forward.